It's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast for what was an absolutely bonkers game of football. Aston Villa 4, Brighton 3, and Aston Villa are third in the league on 27 points. And there's a lot to unwrap in that game, because I think every single Villa fan would feel pretty confident in being annoyed at the first 30 minutes or so, because Villa just did not look like that they were there to play a game of football. And then all of a sudden, 2023, Ollie Watkins gets subbed on, and none of us saw it because first two shots that came to him were scuffed, and he didn't really look like a striker that was going to do much. Then all of a sudden, the spirit of 2023, Ollie Watkins possesses him, and he gets that goal. He slides in, and then he was pretty much the man who dragged us back into it in the first half. And that was absolutely brilliant to see. We all said it beforehand that Ollie Watkins needed to start scoring, and I am absolutely delighted for him that he started scoring. 2 goals that dragged us back into it by the scruff of the neck. Fair play to Oliver George Arthur Watkins. That's exactly the type of game he needed against a team that he often plays well against and scores goals against. And I have to commend him. There's been a lot said about him, obviously, by us and by in the media and so on. You know, he was holding that moniker of scoring the least amount of goals, I think, in Europe's top 5 leagues, I think it was, with strikers that played 950 plus minutes. But today he's gotten 2 goals and he's back on the horse, the scoring horse again. The first one certainly wasn't pretty, and somehow Evan Gassan gets an assist for that goal. It must have came off Gassan and came back off Watkins and went in. Great work by Pau Torres and Matson down that left-hand side. Absolutely brilliant work by Torres and Matson. I thought Pau Torres was bloody brilliant tonight. On goal aside, there was nothing he could do for it. I thought he was really, really good for the majority of the game tonight. So Ollie Watkins gets that first goal. Then the second goal, we don't even know what's happened. It comes back and we see him putting the ball in the back of the net. Early ball out to Morgan Rogers, who just pings one up over the top. Ollie Watkins gets onto it and an instinctual finish. And that doesn't really tell the whole story, because there was a 5-minute period or a 3-minute period in the middle of that there whereby Villa have one saved off the line. Sorry, there was nearly a penalty to Matson, which wasn't given, which that would be given as a penalty probably this weekend, if not this weekend, before the end of the year. There will be a penalty given for that. So it's there was definitely contact there. Just interpretation didn't go our way. Then there was I didn't see a replay of the screwball scramble that happened on their goal line. Just people on Twitter saying that it was cleared off the line with a handball. Nothing given, no VAR conversation, but the ball over the top goes to Watkins anyways, almost subsequently from the next attack, and then Watkins sticks it in the back of the net. But before that, actually, Watkins had another opportunity where he was offside. Brilliant shot, tipped over the bar by Verbruggen. It was a bonkers 10 minutes of play once Aston Villa got their first goal, and Villa went in at half-time. And I've no problem saying that. I said Villa are going to win this game. Like, you know, and I think most Villa fans would have felt confident going, right, we've got our dander up. You know, confidence is going to flow through this team here now. And we'd much prefer to be in Aston Villa's position than to be in Brighton's position. And then we come out at halftime. And I can't remember what minute that Onana scores that goal on, but what a real settler. And Villa were massively on top when we came out after halftime. We looked like we'd puffed out our chest a small bit. We looked like we were there to take control. I'd say there was a couple of sparks flew in that dressing room at halftime. Just about the 34th or 5th minute, Unai Emery absolutely loses the rag with Gesand on the line, starts taking off his jacket, firing it in the ground, just very animated. I'd say there was a couple of home truths said in the dressing room. He could not have been happy with the opening 35 minutes. Obviously must have been delighted to go in at 2-2. And then Villa came out a different team in the second half. And that second half, Villa were really, really good. Really, really good at football. You know, we are one half FC. Although in this game, we were 55 minutes FC. That's what we were. And I thought that it was really, really good stuff from Aston Villa. And I see somebody has put in Leeds. Wow. Are Leeds still 2-1 up, or are they gone 3-1 up? Because that's a really consequential result for Aston Villa, because we spoke about in the team sheet tantrum about creating distance between ourselves and Brighton. I would have expected Chelsea to win this game after their heroics at the weekend, and also they made Barcelona look like a small team. Sunderland after scoring? Sorry, guys. If you guys have, no, Sunderland are after scoring 1-0 Sunderland. Jesus. So like when you look at that, like, you know, you look at the in-game Premier League, and I probably shouldn't be doing this. You know, that is that looks healthy, for very, very healthy for Aston Villa. It really, really does. That's crazy. To look at that. Sorry, I lost all my train of thought. I have to stop looking at the comments here on my soliloquies for a moment. But the togetherness, I suppose, in that second half was really evident to see. You know, Nana grew an extra inch, and he doesn't need to at 6'6". I thought Kamara was really good. I thought the substitution for Kamara was the right time to make the substitution as well. I thought the substitution for Malin coming on was probably the right time to make the substitution, albeit he came on for John McGinn, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe wouldn't have brought him on for McGinn, but McGinn has a lot of games played at that stage. But look, Sherman comes on. I don't care who he came on for. Comes on, and basically about 15 seconds later, he's sticking the ball in the back of the net to make it 4-2 to Aston Villa. And Villa were on a roll then. And look, any of you that are looking at, any of you that were watching my Twitter, you know, I am taking a lot of credit for this win. One of my idiosyncrasies is I'm very particular about the type of socks I wear. Don't like certain materials on my feet. All right. And look, you're just going to have to put up with this part of the podcast. And I had this synthetic-y kind of socks that I bought. Should have really felt the material. I had them on my feet, didn't feel right, kicked them off. So my frozen toes, I had them kicked off maybe about 5 minutes. Ollie Watkins scores. Then he scores the second, and then they go on to score 2 in the second half. So I think the new ritual is going to have to be watching Aston Villa barefoot, which could be a bit problematic outside here in my podcasting boudoir, as it being an office outside. It's not the warmest place in the world, to be honest with you. But I will deal with frostbite if it means Aston Villa continue to have 4-goal comebacks after going 2-0 down. I will absolutely do that. But I think that this comeback is, look, it's all well and good to be high in the highs, and it's all well and good to be hyperbolic after a 4-2 win like this. We should be. I think in a way win like this, the first time Brighton have been beaten at home this season, lest we forget, first time they've been beaten at home this season in 6 games. This is one that Unai Emery will point at and will say, you guys are never beaten. Because that's not a bad football team that they came back against today. It's not a bad football team. It's not like we've gone 2-0 down to, no disrespect to somebody like Burnley. It's not like we've gone 2-0 down to Burnley, a team who are hoping to scrape through and maybe stay up this year. We've gone 2 down to the team directly below us in the league, who are on a heater with regards to results. And we've come back and we've scored 4 unanswered goals against them. That's no mean feat. That is no mean feat. And I think that's something that I definitely think that's something that Unai Emery over this next period of December, with Arsenal at the weekend, we have, and then we've got some tough games coming up. Unai Emery will point towards this and go, this is the game. This is the game that you came back in. All right. Yeah, absolutely. But this is the catalyst to your great December. And then he can also point back to this game and go, if things got tough, and go, remember you were 2-0 down against Brighton and you came back to win 4-2. There's an absolute load of, there's so much character, there's so much thought, there's so much memory holding you can do from this game. Like I've often talked about, specifically it sticks in my mind. I said it after the Nottingham Forest game last year where Villa were 1-0 up and then ended up losing 2-1. After conceding 2 goals in almost the last last 5 or 6 minutes. And I said that one will sting and that one will stick in their minds for a while, and it's going to be important they forget about that game, and they did. And then they go away in this ridiculously good run. This is a game that they want to forget about until they need to remember it, until they need to remember this one again, until the times are tough. But it's definitely one that you could build a charge on, and it's definitely one that you can look back on, and you can look your players in the eye and go, you just beat a right good team in their back garden after being 2-0 down. Imagine if you didn't start so shite, you know? And it's that kind of stuff that gives belief. And a lot of the comeback today came from Unai Emery's, going bonkers on the sideline. But it also comes down to came down to the likes of John McGinn, the likes of Ezri Konsa, the likes of Pau Torres. I mentioned him earlier, and again, I'm going to say this, that Who Scored, SofaScore, all those brilliant websites, absolutely love them. Like, I use them regularly. That's where I get a lot of my statistics from. They aggregate out the ratings for players. Pau Torres will not fare well in those ratings. But Pau Torres did a couple of really, really good things today. He did a couple of really grown-up things today. He did a couple of leader-type things today. You just have to look back at that first goal. That first goal is almost all Pau Torres that we score. Pau Torres carries that ball forward, completely breaks down the Brighton mid-press after they brought on Hinchelwood. They went into that more condensed midfield. Torres goes through it. They weren't expecting that. An extra body in midfield. Torres goes through it, lays that ball off to Maatsen. Maatsen gets down the line, crosses it in, comes off Gessend, hits off Ollie Watkins and goes in. But Pau Torres is really good there. Pau Torres got shirty and he got physical with players today. I like the touch of class that he had when the young Greek striker that went down injured in the first half, Torres plays that ball away, immediately calls for somebody to come on, goes over to see how he is. Torres is a classy man. He looked like it's taken him, I won't say it's taken him a while to get used to the rough and tumble of Premier League football, because he's never going to be Tyrone Mings. But today I saw a good bit of leadership from him today. I saw a good bit of taking responsibility today, himself and Konsa. And I like to see that, there was a sense of when we got back to 2-2 that the team smelled blood in the water. And that's great to see. Specifically for a team who couldn't score for Toffee at the start of the year. What was it? 5 games in, we'd only 1 goal scored. Score 4 goals inside the box today. Last week we were goals from outside the box FC. Unsustainable. We were all making that joke. Now we score 4 goals from inside the box. Swings and roundabouts. And while it's important not to get carried away with a game like this, it's important to get carried away with it as well directly afterwards, because it's a bloody good win against a very good team. And I will continue to say that. I'm repeating myself with regards to that, but it's a bloody good win against a bloody good team. And every single one of those players should be super, super happy with how they played there tonight. And it should be something that, as I say, that this one gets memory hold for when they need it. Because the league is long, the year is coming to a close now, but you still have another 5 hard months to put down after Christmas and a hard Christmas period. Villa are in 3rd place now, 27 points. A very decent looking goal scoring record, but also I think, what are we 7 + 6 in goal difference as well? I'll tell you, I actually looked it up at halftime, where Villa were at this point in the 2023-2024 season, where we got Champions League, mind. We were on an absolute run at that stage. Now, we were still going to go on to beat Man City and Arsenal, our two next games after this, at this period. Yeah, I think game week 15, game week 16 were Man City and Arsenal. I think that's what it was. And Villa won those two. But Aston Villa were 29 points, and Arsenal were top of the league on 33 points in 2023-2024. And Aston Villa were in 4th place on 29 points at this time of the season in 2023-2024. We're now in 3rd place on 27 points, and Arsenal are on top of the league on 33. So there's something slightly kind of Freaky Friday, sort of serendipitous about that. Those type of numbers. That if you believe in as kind of a semi sort of I don't know what it is. What's the word for it? It's not gematria. What's that? That's that other bunker stuff. It's I'm just going to say serendipitous number arrangements. Put it that way. maybe you can believe something in that and you can convince yourself to go and put the money on early that Aston Villa are going to get in the Champions League. But all will be told over the next few weeks and the next few months. Look, I think it's great that we've got this win out of the way, away from home. We do have Arsenal next, and this is a brilliant, brilliant platform for Arsenal. Now, guys, I am going to cut the post-match a bit short here. I am going to jump over onto Claret and Blue and chat more with Dan Ronaldson, because this is more soliloquy to get my kind of... I was nervous after that third goal went in for Brighton. I was really nervous, and I need to get that pent up energy out of my system. Plus, I couldn't be talking about synthetic fibers on my toes in the Claret and Blue podcast. You know, that get that. You're not allowed to have any of those sexually explicit kind of conversations on Reach PLC pod. So I had to have that here to let you guys know that. But I am going to jump over to Dan. I have a chat with Dan Ronaldson on Claret and Blue in the next couple of minutes. But we're going to I'm going to tally in again with Paddy tomorrow, get his views on this, and then we'll be straight into a preview the day after of Arsenal, and we should be looking forward to this Arsenal game. They're not infallible. They're not the Messiah. They're just a naughty boy. Although I see that they won 2-0 tonight. They were up 1-0. They've won 2-0, last minute goal from Saka. But yeah, we can look forward to going to play Arsenal as I see Leeds 3-1 up against Chelsea. Everything's coming up Millhouse tonight, and long may that continue for us. Right, thanks so much everybody for joining us. Bit of an abridged podcast. Catch me over on the Claret and Blue in the next couple of minutes, and we'll be back again tomorrow to get Paddy's view on this, because he's been watching this in a pub full of we've been watching this in a pub full of Villa fans above in Dublin, so I'd love to know what the atmosphere was like there. Anyway, join us again tomorrow for that. Stay safe, stay healthy, and up the 6-in-a-row winning, title-chasing, Champions League placing Aston Villa. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.